Hello and welcome to a GOAT edition of the NBL1 Show. Thanks to Coles Express, I'm Megan Hustwaite. This is Pete Hooley. Pete, welcome to the greatest episode of the NBL1 Show of all time.
It's going to be very hard. It's going to be impossible to beat. Let's be honest. It'll be completely impossible to beat this because not only are we speaking to the GOAT, which I cannot wait to do, we also have one of the dunks of all time, and we're speaking to the man who did that dunk for the Darwin Salties. So I think it's pretty safe to say that this show will never be beaten.
So if you've lived under a rock for forever, the GOAT, of course, of Australian basketball is Lauren Jackson, and she's playing in NBL1, and she's joining us today. And yes, we've got the GOAT of dunks as well.
Yeah, Darwin Salties, they're in the league. It's a truly national competition. That place was rocking. I can't wait to find out how the fans and community have got behind the Salties. I've got a little surprise to throw on when we talk to our next guest, but I'm looking forward to seeing how their whole season goes, the future goes of the club. It's really exciting, but what a dunk.
Huge, 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 huge. Now, for the first time, we are a fully national competition because at the weekend we had every conference in play, but we'll start with the Salties, as you mentioned, Pete, because they made their debut in NBL1 North and they are turning heads already.
Well, they are. I mean, look, you see the dunk right there from that highlight. They're just a fun team to watch, but look at the crowd. They are getting up and about already just for this team. Matt Flynn coaching them. They're an exciting team to watch. The community is going to rally behind them. They're part of the NBL1 North, and look, they're going to do some exciting things because we've already seen in other sporting codes and maybe in other sporting leagues, look at the Jack Jumpers, a new franchise. If your fans get behind you and you keep performing with plays like this, absolutely anything is possible. That is audacious, that is insane, that is disgusting, and that is violent, and it's really, I don't know, I'm lost for words. It's unfathomable.
It sure is. Well, that dunk, we better talk to that man. Let's chat to him now. Time now to talk about that dunk with that guy. His name is Makuach Maluach and he joins us now. Welcome to the show. Have you come down from that big moment?
No, I mean, still buzzing about it. Everyone keeps sending it to me. It's been a hectic 48 hours. So right now, I don't even know what to think about it. It's a pretty good moment.
Well, come down is the correct term because the audacity to take off from where you took off from. Now, I'm sure you've had plenty of dunks along your course of your career, which we'll get into a little bit. But as soon as you got the ball in the backcourt, at what point did you think, I'm going to just try and detonate this?
Once I crossed half court, I looked up at the defender and he still hasn't moved. So I honestly thought he was going to cut me off before I crossed over half court. But he just stood there and once I looked up and he didn't move, I just decided to take off.
And a lot of people, I've heard a couple of people say it's one of those dunks where once you take off, you get a little bit more elevation off the body of the defender. It didn't even look necessarily like that too much. It just looked like you had more in the tank to get not just above him, but through him. You've seen the highlight plenty of times, but have you seen some of the photos that I'm sure someone will print off for you? Because that is a picture that you'll keep for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I saw the photos, some of them pretty amazing. I wish someone had a front on. That's what I want to see. The photos are pretty amazing so far.
I'm not sure the defender wants to see a photo from front on because that's something.
He's that guy.
Normally you're praised for stepping in there in a defensive stop like that, but I think you've just learned a lesson that anytime you see coming through the lane, he'll be stepping out of the way for the rest of his career.
Now, you said it's been a whirlwind 48 hours. Tell me about your phone. Has it melted down? How many DMs on Instagram, tags, text messages are we talking?
It's been a lot. After the game, I didn't even want to look at my phone. So, a lot of messages and tags on Instagram and everywhere. So, it's been pretty hectic.
Can we talk a little bit about the fan support? We know Darwin's now entered the national competition. They've got a team. It's so exciting. It's been built up. That's why I'm wearing the jersey. I was on the Salties bandwagon for a couple of months now, but to have the fans behind you, that place was rocking, and then to put on a performance like that as a team, it must be a really exciting time for the community.
Yeah, obviously something new. We know that as players, we embrace that. And I think Maddie has done a great job, just making sure we understand what we're playing for. And the community so far has been great. The first game, we got out of the way. We're just glad to give them the win. But, honestly, I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season because they have been amazing.
Talk me a little bit about, you mentioned Matt Flynn, your head coach. What's it like to play for him so far in this season?
It's been amazing. Great leader, great coach, obviously. We got a great bunch of guys. He put this team together. It's something new, and we just embraced that. And we want to play for him and, just make the community proud. And I think Matt has been leading us really well.
So coming off your first pro season in Finland, it's a bit of a different atmosphere, environment, temperature to Darwin, I imagine.
Yeah, Finland was really cold, so I wanted to go somewhere warm. So, once Matt Flynn got the job here, I reached out to my high school coach because he's a great friend of Matt, and he said Matt is going up there. So I was like, tell him I want to come play for him.
Now, you went to college at New Mexico. We've seen some Australian contingent go through there. Hugh Greenwood, Cam Bairstow, these guys who have helped them grow into the players and professionals that they are. What did you take out of that experience as a Lobo?
Yeah, obviously New Mexico is a great school, and a lot of Australians has gone through that program. So, I went there for 4 years, and the coach I had there and the program, it just taught me a lot of things about life. I learned a lot about myself. So, once I left over there, I felt like I had really good tools, to go through life. So it was an amazing experience.
Now, we know what your future might be very bright, but you've got the NBL1 on your mind, you've got bigger NBL on your mind, you've got bigger goals to try and achieve?
Yeah. Obviously, I really want to play in the NBL, but, I'll think about that once the season over here is over with. So right now, my focus is just on the Salties and trying to win them a championship.
Well, no doubt you're set for big things. I'm sure an NBL team will be keeping a lot of eyes on you throughout the course of this NBL1 season. Thank you for joining us. And I'm not sure if you have the capabilities of topping that dunk. I don't think anybody can. But if someone can, I'm sure it's you. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Good luck for the rest of the season. And we can't wait to see how bright your future is.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, Pete, he does have a bright future ahead. We can't wait to see what he does. And yes, I think he'll be the only person that can outdo himself.
We've got a lot of athletes across the entire competition, across every conference, but just the magnitude of that dunk where he took off from, it's going to be near impossible to beat.
All right, let's wrap up the rest of NBL1 North at the weekend, and we're going to move on to the North Side Wizards now. They've got Mitch McCarron and Keanu Pinder playing for them. Big
performances from both of those guys, as we expect. 14 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists for Mitch McCarron, and Keanu Pinder picking up right where he left off. NBL's most improved player. 15 points, 16 rebounds, 3 blocks. But they lost to the Brisbane Capitals by 1 point.
And the Cairns Marlins started the season with a win over Ipswich, 88-79. Ben Eyre picking up where he left off during the NBL1 season with 24 points for Cairns.
And Mirko Jeric as well had 20 points. The Cairns Taipans, they're out and about in the NBL1. Kuat Noi, he was hot for USC. Rip City. He had 37 points and 13 rebounds in his first NBL1 North game, and they had a huge win over Southern Districts.
105-71. That's massive. On the women's side of things, Shyla Hill made her debut for Northside. She had 11 points alongside Tiana Mangakahi, who had 15 points and 6 assists in their win over Brisbane. Those two are going to cause some headaches.
They're going to be very fun to watch. And I tell you what, speaking of fun to watch, you mentioned, I think last week or the week before, Kayla George doing Kayla George things for Cairns. She had 19 points, 17 rebounds and 7 assists. She's having a lot of fun up there.
She sure is, and her birthday too at the weekend. She's going big in year 33. And a big win for Mackay, Kayla's former team, Alicia Jenkins with 22 points and 17 boards. And the North Gold Coast had a win with their duo of Caitlin Donovan, 31 points, 12 rebounds, and Erin Riley, 22 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, were dominant. Sorry, Pete.
And our 2 players of the week. We've got some player of the week now from each conference.
Yes.
No surprise, Kuat Noi, 37 points and 13 rebounds. And Kayla George, 19, 17 and 7. I reckon we might see those 2 names consistently pop up throughout the course of this season.
And I like this. This is what we're doing because we've got conferences here, there and everywhere. Instead of a team of the week, we're having players of the week.
And it's going to be tough to get in there because there's some big stat lines every single week.
Some big stat lines in NBL1 South at the weekend. And we'll start with Knox. They had a huge win. This was a massive margin. 49-point winners over Waverley. Kira Rowe with 22 points and Alicia Froling. We love a Froling on the NBL1 show. 18 up against Waverley. Waverley, who had Beck Cole and Carly Ernst in their side.
50-point win, that is huge. That's a lot of confidence going in early in the season. Dandenong had a big win over Nuttawading. Clutch bucket from Gemma Potter. This was one that took off on social media as well. She had 18 points and 7 boards. But this next name, speaking of bright stars, the next generation, Jade Melbourne, she is something to behold. And we know she got drafted in WNBA, but she's killing it for Ballarat. She had 20 points, 8 boards, 10 assists and 7 steals against Eltham. And then 19, 10 and 5 versus Sandringham, and both in wins. And she is a superstar in the making.
Melbourne lighting up Ballarat. We love to see it. And she's, as we see her bringing the ball up the court now, she's going to play a huge role for them this season alongside Zatina Akuso. So looking forward to those two both lighting it up for the Miners. And Casey women remain undefeated since joining NBL1 South. A great start.
Really good start. On the men's side, Waverley moved to 2-0. Solid outings from Daniel Dillon, ex-Adelaide 36er, played in the NBL. He had 26, 6 and 5. Benny Lewis, Dexter Kernich-Drew. That's a stacked lineup. They've got Darrell McDonald, Simon Conn. The veteran just keeps going around.
Off the bench
And then the Phoenix development player Tristan Forsyth is there. So Waverley, they are stacked and they're looking the goods early.
We love a Pinu. Dane and Georgia had big weekends, but tell me about Dane's.
Dane Pinot, 10 points, a little low on what he would like to do, but he had 19 rebounds. So he was pivotal in their game versus Sandringham. Mount Gambier, another team, they're going to put up a few problems this year. They moved to 2-0. Michael Harris, he came across from NBL1 Central. We had him on the show last year. He had 30, 11 and 7. And Adelaide 36's development player Nick Marshall had 19 points and 9 rebounds in this one.
Before we get to our players of the week, I noticed when I was watching the Jack Jumpers jump their way into the grand final series, and loved my sports bet updates with Felix. The graphic was NBL1 related last night.
It was 4 of 19, which that's a tough game for him on Sunday. 4 of 19. I'm not sure what is not, I wouldn't say the word embarrassing, but 19 shots is not enough for Felix. I mean, he has been playing well. The only way you can improve that is to get another 10 shots up. And I'm sure Andrew Gay's saying, look, I'm not upset with 4 of 19. I'm upset that it wasn't 4 of 29. You've got to go out swinging. They won the game, so that's all he says he cares about, which I don't think is true.
No, that's
but I'm expecting we're going to have a couple 30-point games, maybe even a 40-piece from Felix. He's looking good and he's shooting well. Hopefully
we can get a Melbourne Tigers market for a few of those things this season. You've mentioned Gazy, needs to come back and play.
He does need to come back and play, but he won't do it. But I tell you what, Gazy tells me he has never had a technical foul as a coach in any level. So I believe that is a fallacy, and we'll see what happens. Maybe I can try and get Felix to try and egg him on and see if he gets one.
I reckon you can. Players of the week for NBL1 South, Pete.
Michael Harris, what a performance. He was huge. And then Jade Melbourne, I think Jade Melbourne is going to feature very heavily in the Player of the Week going forward.
First of a few. Let's crack into NBL1 East now. We'll start with the men. Kiwi Gardner, going to be a lot of fun to watch this year.
Well, they split the round with a win over Bankstown and a loss to Hills, but he had 32, 8 and 6 and 5 steals, and then he followed that up with 41, 4 and 7. That is some sort of weekend.
Who has 41 in the second game?
It's hard to do. NBL1 doubleheaders are no joke, really.
A Manly men had a win over Albury, Indiana Faithful. I reckon that's the best name in NBL1.
Well, he's been running around the NBL. He was the Illawarra Hawks for a while, Sydney Kings. He's a well-known name in New South Wales, and 40 points and 13 rebounds. He's starting to feel good about himself as well. He'll be a big feature of them.
Let's talk about the Sutherland women, because Laura Nicholson is pacing them. 20 points, 7 boards and 5 assists in their win over the winless Inner West Bulls, and heartbreak for the Canberra women, Pete.
Well, first they lost a thriller to Maitland, 70-69, and then the next day losing to Newcastle by a point as well. So that's a really tough weekend for the Canberra women. And then I don't even know how do we introduce this stat line leading into this next guest.
Bit speechless. Goats make you speechless.
They do. Lauren Jackson, 31 points and 24 rebounds in 29 minutes. She's been doing this ever since they started in the NBL1 East, and I think she's going to continue to do it. And look, I'm going to throw it out there. She will have a 50-point game in the NBL1 East.
Of course.
And it will probably be in 4.5 minutes of play.
True. I'm a bit nervous about this, Pete. It's time to welcome the GOAT to the NBL1 show. Well, Pete, the biggest moment in the history of the NBL1 show, thanks to Coles Express, is about to happen. We have the GOAT.
Thank you. Oh, not me.
The greatest of all time, Lauren Jackson, is playing NBL1, and she joins us now. Welcome, LJ, and welcome to NBL1.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's been a lot of fun so far. Painful, but fun.
Now, you've just jumped out of the gym to join us. We appreciate your time. Tell us, first of all, about painful, because you've had a huge doubleheader to start, your first home game at the weekend. How is that nearly 41-year-old body?
Yeah, look at oh man, the first 48 hours sort of after a game, I'm really sort of struggling to walk, and but I think that it's going to get easier. I think that it's just my body getting used to loading and stuff again. I've been really fortunate to have the time to sort of get my body to a position where I can actually just step foot on a court. So now it's just, getting that game fitness and, hopefully things start to settle down in the next couple of weeks.
LJ, you mentioned the doubleheader. So for those who perhaps don't understand about an NBL1 doubleheader, this is not just a normal doubleheader weekend game. You have less than 24 hours a lot of the time to back it up. And I found out a bit later after your opening round doubleheader that you had the 7-hour bus trip as well going into a second leg doubleheader. Are you mad?
Funny, because when I found out that we were getting on the bus at 6:30 in the morning to play that night, and it was actually more like an 8.5-hour, 9-hour bus. And then we play at 12 o'clock the next day, the turnaround. I was like, oh my God. I mean, even in the WNBL, there's a 24-hour sort of limit, but I have 24 hours between games. So I definitely didn't think that one through. I need to prepare a little bit better. But look, in all honesty, it took me back to my childhood a little bit because, we had to travel so much on coaches as kids through New South Wales, and I really enjoyed it. I've got some of my best friends are on that team, and we just had a lot of fun. And then Harry came with me too, so it was brilliant. But, the NBL1, it's so physical, and I feel like at this level too, I'm just getting beat up. Wherever I go, I'm sort of getting bumped. And I think that, if I do play at any other level, it'll be a little bit different. But, gee, it's physical. But it's good.
You mentioned Harry. One of the big reasons why you wanted to come back and play was to play in front of your kids, Harry and Lenny. And Harry came on that road trip, which I think is a huge effort from him, really, given how long you're on that bus. But how nice has it been to play in front of the kids again and have them sideline with you?
Yeah, well, it just changes my perspective on the game. It's amazing having him on the bench and, coming off and, when I'm normally swearing and carrying on, because I'm mad about something, I can't because my little boy's there. So I just sort of sit there, yes, and then everything's better again. But it has been pretty magic. I'm not who I was, I think, 10 years ago, and it's definitely totally different perspective on the game and the outcomes and what I'm doing. So I'm really enjoying it. Harry's a little trooper. He likes being right in the mix of everything. And, when I'm getting photos taken with people after the game or signing autographs and stuff, he has to be right next to me. He won't let... There's been a few times where people have said, I don't know who that kid is in the photo. I'm like... So, he's always right there with me, and it's pretty cool.
Now, I'm sure the emotions, as you mentioned, you were coming back, a lot of the reason for your family. But talk to me about the first home game emotions of going out there. This venue is you. Everything about them is you to run on the court. It must have felt maybe a little strange. Talk us through how that was.
Look, it was a little bit nerve-wracking for sure. I definitely felt like... I felt nerves, there's no doubt about it. But just being able to play in front of, it's a lot of the people that go to the basketball have been going for years and years. They knew me as a little girl, and a lot of the oldies that have been running that club since I was a baby, they're still there and watching. So I think it was more that emotional connection that I have to the community and the people here. And then also too, the new generation that is coming along, a lot of them never got to see me play. They've only heard about me through their parents or grandparents. And so it was pretty awesome to have all those kids there. We packed out the stadium. I think there was close to 1,000 people there. And it was so special just to be able to play in front of our home crowd. And, I missed about 100 shots, so I got lots of rebounds. But it was super special. And it will be special, continuing to be special playing here.
Can you believe that it's all happening, LJ? Because you are 41, I think, this week. Your body, sorry, your body really was in ruins when you retired, and it was such a hard time for you. You've had 2 kids and you're now back playing basketball. and you're playing in the stadium that's named after you, and you look to be getting up and down the court with ease. Can you believe that this has actually all happened?
I can't believe that it's happening. It's so special to me, and for the people that sort of enabled it and, sort of pushed me to give it a crack, be forever grateful. They know who they are, and, I feel really supported. BA have been incredible. And, my colleagues at work, I'm still working. I've got my kids. It's pretty hectic. It's been crazy. But for everything that I've been through with the sport, this is just a beautiful way to finish up. And I remember, when I was playing overseas and in Russia and America, and just thinking, God, I wish I was just playing for Albury right now. I wish there was a women's team, because back then there wasn't. And I wish I could just go and sleep in my own bed and be with my family and the people that I love. And to have this opportunity now at my age to do it, it's incredible. And look, who knows how far it's going to take me, how long it's going to last. It could last one more. The way I feel after games at the moment, it's a little bit hard to see it going on for a long period of time. But like I said, I'm just hoping that this, my body, the fitness part sort of kicks in and I get used to the loading again. But I mean, it's so special to be doing this in Australia and in the city that I grew up in, and I'm so thankful.
It might be one of the most unique experiences, obviously, with how well you're playing as well. But you mentioned getting bumped, the physicality of it, and then you mentioned the new generation of young girls coming through. A lot of that goes hand in hand now. So you're potentially getting bumped by girls who are going to ask for your photo with you after the game. Have you had any of those experiences yet?
Pretty much all the games. I remember we were playing Hills, and one of the girls, her coach put her on to me just to basically face guard me and bump me wherever I stepped for, just wherever I went. And I was like, oh God, here we go. This is it. Start of the second half, she looked at me and she just said, this has been my dream since I was a kid. And I was like, oh my God.
How good.
I just put my arm around her and I just said, this is, it's so special. It's also been a dream of mine. So, and then after we played Manly on the weekend, I had photos with the girls, and it was pretty, they're so beautiful. I think the thing that I've really noticed is the impact that I did have as an athlete, and I didn't realise that until playing against these kids. And every game they come out and they, I guess, trying to push me around, and I guess that's where I've got to take a step back and go, no, they're trying to, it's for a good reason. You've got because of who you are and stuff. So I do have to sort of take that step back and think about it, but it is really super special, and I feel really fortunate that I get to do it, like I said. And I think no matter how long this goes on for, how long it lasts, the impact that it's going to make is it's obvious. So
yeah, it's huge.
It's inspiring. It really is. And to everyone, to young girls, to everybody, for what you're doing, we love seeing it. And look, Megan and I have said, I know there's going to be a lot of World Cup chatter throughout the course of this year. If you do decide maybe that's the way you want to go down, we'll put it in a good word. We'll make sure that we'll have a good word about it.
We know some people.
And we'll try and get it done.
I want to ask you too, LJ, before we let you go, because you've got to get back to your busy life, but it's made worldwide news, your return to basketball. Of course, because you are a legend of the sport. Sue Bird's been posting about you on social media, past teammates. It's gone right around the globe. So what's that been like too, and hearing from, a range of people that are rapt to see you back on court?
Well, Sue's still one of my closest friends. So to be able to, I've kept her abreast of everything that's been happening the last sort of 6 months, and the training and everything. And, it's been a journey, so since the beginning, I started training, when I started getting back in the gym and everything, it's been a real emotional journey. I mean, there've been moments where I just didn't think I could go on, and I've had a meltdown. I've just had a lot of good people in my ear, and I've had huge support, like I said, from BA. And so to have that support from my old teammates, my old friends, work, and my family, it's really, I guess, just shown me the nature of the family that we're in this area, the basketball family. And it's super special. But like I said, I'm getting old, and I don't know how long it's going to last, but I'm doing it for the 40 pluses at the moment. So we'll see. trailblazer in that area. So I just, she definitely inspired me to get to this point. There's no doubt. And then, like I said, the journey has been one we've sort of documented it a bit along the way. So, we'll see how it goes. But, gee, it's been a ride, let me tell you.
Well, it's been a beautiful thing to watch, and it's only going to get better. We hang on to everything, looking forward to every weekend to see how you perform. I think this is just the beginning, so let's make sure you get the emergency exit on the bus. We'll have another fun chat to that. But thank you so much for joining us. We can't wait to see what transpires, not just week after week, but maybe a bit longer down the track. We can't wait to see that, and we can't wait to continue to watch what you're doing. It is inspiring, it's incredible. So thank you so much, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Good on you guys. Thank you. Sorry I was late too.
You can be as late as you want.
We would let you be 2 weeks late.
Come on now. All right.
Thanks, LJ. Well, Pete, how good was that?
Unbelievable human being, what she's doing, not just, she says, for the over 40s, but for all women in sport, for everyone in sport. I love it. I love watching her play every weekend, and might have given us away a little something. I think there's big things coming. There's big things coming, so hold on to your hats, Australian basketball fans. It's just awesome.
So who would have ever thought in 2019, when NBL1 started with NBL1 South, this new competition, it was 3 years after the GOAT retired, who would have ever imagined that she'd be playing in this competition? And
playing as well as she is.
Yeah.
And she mentioned the double headers. That is no joke, to be sitting on a bus for that long, less than 24 hours recovery. We know it's been well documented, all the injuries that she's had to go through to get here. And it's unbelievable. It's awesome to see.
Is she Player of the Week?
Apparently not.
You don't choose this.
I don't choose this, but also, let's be honest, we can't just give it to her every week. Well,
we could call it the Lauren Jackson Player of the Week.
She can just be
Could we name NBL1 awards after her after 3 games?
We can do whatever we want. Player of the Week, Rebecca Abel. She had 21 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists in back-to-back wins for Illawarra, and Lauren Jackson. We'll throw Lauren Jackson in. She'll be in there every single game.
And we can't look past Kiwi Gardner.
No, that was a massive stat line. The 32 points, 8, 6 and 5, and then 41, 4 and 7. Player of the Week.
Let's talk NBL1 Central now. Familiar names, as usual, in NBL1 Central, starting with Sammy Simmons.
She's dominant. She had 31 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists and 4 steals. So that's a really big outing for her.
Molly McKendrick had 32 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, a big stat line in a loss for the Southern Tigers. And then Jasmine Fijo.
Well, West Adelaide's win over Norwich. She had 39, 4 rebounds and 8 assists. What a night. On the other side, Ali Wilson had 36. People are just dropping 30 in their sleep at this rate.
Now, let's talk about the men, because Woodville had a huge win over Forestville. I can't quite believe what we're reading here.
I can't either. Forestville will be strong favourites to win a lot of games. Woodville beat them by 51 points. Forestville features Daniel Johnson, Adam Doyle, Greg Mays, and Woodville do have David Humphries, an ex-teammate of mine when I was playing in England. He had some sort of game. He had 33 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists and 5 steals. And he tells me that really he's just trying to become a semi-pro golfer. So if you're doing this in your part-time, he can play. There's no doubt about it that he can play if his body stays healthy.
NBL1 Golf Show.
Oh, okay, I'm all about it.
We could do a spin-off. Let's talk South Adelaide. They're a team to watch. They're sitting in 3rd place currently, and Jeremy Smith had 37 points.
Well, they're going to be really exciting to watch throughout the course of this season. And then last year's champs, North Adelaide, continued to cruise. They moved to 4-0. They had a 30-point win over the Eastern Mavericks. No surprise, Player of the Week on the women's side, Sam Simmons. She was a very beast on the weekend.
Yeah, first of many. And Jeremy Smith, our Player of the Week for the men's in NBL1 Central. Let's go west now, and we'll start with the NBL1 West women.
Nasiah Park-Williams, she had 34 points, 17 rebounds in Joondalups' 5-point win over Warwick, who hadn't lost coming in. And the Wolves are still undefeated on top of the ladder at 4-0.
The second place, Mandurah Magic, also came away with a slim win over East Perth. We spoke to Milo last week, who played her 513th record-breaking game. That is so many games.
It is. That's a lot of games. That's a lot of ice. That's a lot of recovery. And the Goldfields got their first win of the season, beating Rockingham thanks to a near triple-double from Gemma Gatti with 15, 9 and 10.
Oof. That is a nice stat line too. Let's talk the men, and Perth Wildcats DP. Carl Zunic suited up for Warwick in their win over Joondalup.
He had 17 points and 5 boards. I'm expecting a really big season from Carl Zunic. He is an exciting prospect. And another Wildcats DP in action for Willetton Tigers. He's a fan favourite anytime he steps on the floor. Ollie Hayes-Brown, the flying mullet, 21 points, 16 rebounds. I'm expecting him to have a couple of 2020 plus games this season as well.
Geraldton still on top of the ladder, undefeated thanks to a big win over Coburn, which was a top of the table clash in NBL1 where Sean Stewart had 30 for the Buccaneers.
Players of the week, Nasiah Parker-Williams, 34 and 17. Sean Stewart with the 37 and 4. So there is a lot to take in every week now with every conference rolling. But with stat lines like that, we've got to make sure we get them out there.
And the app, we talk about it every week, but it is so good. How good is the app?
Well, we only just scrape the surface when we do the show. So if you really want to do a deep dive, we're giving you some highlights, some stats. Yeah. There is a lot more. So jump in and then jump on socials because you're going to see more dunks like we saw. You might see something better. You might see big performances from the GOAT. Everything's on the app, so jump online.
Well, it has been a GOAT show, Pete. It's been lovely to share the GOAT show with you.
It's been a pleasure, and I think since we can't beat it, that'll do us.
Yeah, that's us. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, I was building on a lecture. Verses coming daily under pressure.